But then, out of nowhere, the bald guy hurled a vicious insult at her black husband. As if that wasn't enough, he even had the audacity to reach for her pregnant belly. The poor woman, overwhelmed by fear and shock, collapsed right there on the spot. And before anyone could react, that thug, that heartless brute, kicked her stomach without hesitation. Then, as if it was nothing, they sped off, leaving her lying helplessly on the cold ground. People rushed to her aid, calling for help as she was immediately transported to the hospital. Her husband arrived moments later, his face twisted in disbelief and sheer rage. His eyes darted around as he demanded answers, his voice thick with fury. "Tell me, what happened? Where are these guys? Did they have tattoos? Do you know them?" A detective handling the case quickly pieced the situation together, linking this brutal attack to an ongoing investigation. It all traced back to a routine questioning, one that had unexpectedly escalated into a tense, hostile encounter. "Listen, guys, we just have a few questions for you." But the atmosphere turned cold. "You're gonna want to put that down," an officer warned, sensing the danger. One of the men smirked. "Oh, I recognize this one. Don't you move," another officer barked, hand tightening around his holster. Tension crackled in the air. "Emin, you need a hand?" Then, suddenly, chaos erupted. "Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Slow down."
"Sharp. What do you want, cop?" One of them sneered before mockingly stretching his arms out. "Go ahead, arrest me." They thought the badge would make the officers hesitate. They believed they were untouchable. But reality? Reality had other plans. Back at the hospital, the detective stood frozen, eyes scanning his wife's battered face. His heart clenched painfully, guilt and sorrow battling within him. He wanted to act, to do something, but his fellow officers held him back.
"Stay here, sir.
Let us handle this." And so, they went after the culprits. Soon, the men were caught. But instead of fear, they only laughed in the face of the law. "Shut your mouth," an officer snapped. Yet the criminals remained smug, utterly convinced that being white would shield them from any real consequences. Then came the news that shattered everything. The doctor's face was grim as he spoke. His wife had suffered a brain hemorrhage from the attack. And worse, so much worse, they had lost their unborn child. When the detective entered her hospital room, his feet felt like lead. His wife, so fragile, so broken, whispered in a weak, shaky voice, "I lost the baby." Her words sliced through him like a blade. He sat beside her, whispering words of comfort. But deep inside, he was drowning in a storm of emotions.
Rage, pain, despair.
If the justice system failed him, if those men walked free, he knew exactly what he had to do. That night, he returned to the station. His steps were slow, deliberate. He walked straight to the holding cell, eyes locked on the men who had destroyed his world. He reached for the curtain and pulled it shut.
Silence.
Then click. He retrieved his firearm. The largest thug inside grinned, still cocky, still arrogant, thinking he was invincible. The detective didn't say a word. Instead, he grabbed a different tool. His hands were steady as he stepped forward, unlocking the cell door. "You get past me, you're free to go." The challenge was clear. "Help him. Take him out," one of the criminals shouted. Chaos erupted once more. A brutal, desperate fight. The detective was a man possessed, moving with a purpose, striking with force, making them feel every ounce of his pain. One by one, they fell. One by one, they learned. Only the bald man remained. The detective, breathing heavily, turned, grabbed yet another weapon, and repeated the same words. "Same deal. You get past me, you're free to go." By the time his fellow officers arrived, the criminals were sprawled motionless across the floor. The detective sat there, hands resting on his knees, his face eerily blank. His colleagues exchanged uneasy glances. He had done exactly what the criminals had wanted. Now tell me, what would you have done in his place? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.